YouTube Ozic going the Goat House is back. And we're on the defensive side of the ball for my position rankings of the 2020 NFL Draft. We did all the position groups from the offense. Now on to the defense. This video covering the defensive linemen. So going to rank quite a few of those, and it's a battle at the top. Derrick Brown, Javon, Kinlaw, a unique, interesting battle in this position group here. We'll reveal all that in just a second. We'll be live during the NFL Draft, April 23rd. Join us right here on YouTube for predictions and instant reactions as the first round unfolds. We have two channels. Please subscribe to both. We got a Twitter. Instant, constant action. That didn't make any sense, but that's all right. I got all kinds of NFL content and action on that Twitter, always talking with you guys, always answering questions, so please give us a follow there on the Twitter. Any link that you need to help support us or follow us elsewhere, you'll get in the comment section or the description, including our podcast. We're on Apple and Spotify. So who leads each category for the defensive lineman? Day one impact is going to be Derrick Brown. So we see Derrick Brown twice at the top here. Day one impact, I think he's pro-ready. Looks like he's been pro-ready for some time. And then run stopper, I do think he's the best for stopping the run out of these defensive linemen. Pass rusher, I am grading A.J. Epenesa with the defensive linemen, not the edge rushers. But from the defensive linemen, pass rusher, I'm going to go with A.J. Epenesa. He obviously has that production and experience getting after the quarterback. And 3-4 end, that's kind of where I view Epenesa. A little bit of a risk putting him here, saying he's the best, pure 3-4 end when he hasn't really been that yet. But his strength and his pass rush ability, that's where I view him, and I'm confident with him being there. Nose tackle, put Nevile Gallimore, even though he wasn't strictly a nose tackle. There's a bunch of nose tackles that, or there's always some that are strictly nose tackles, but Gallimore seems like today's NFL, today's game nose tackle. And he played there quite a bit, obviously. 3 technique, Ross Blacklock. It's really tough based on TCU's defense, their scheme, to know exactly where Ross Blacklock will fit the most. But I think with his agility, his athleticism, and pass rush ability, but combining that with, the strength on top of it, I think he'll be a good 3 technique for a lot of teams if they're interested. Most versatile, put Javon Kinlaw, because, we view him as, a defensive tackle. He'll line up over a guard, maybe in the B gap sometimes. But he actually lined up at nose tackle more than you think, quite a bit actually, around 200 snaps. So, he can move around quite a bit. And I also think Javon Kinlaw is the most upside. Just you look at the kid, just a freakish body type, and power, and length, and that's the guy you want to work with, and he has the the abilities already too. Sleeper is McDelvin Agim from Arkansas. He's actually starting to heat up his name. A bunch of teams interested in him. As we're getting closer to the draft, he apparently had a bunch of different visits lined up, more than almost any prospect in the draft. And then deep sleeper is going to be Bravion Roy from Baylor, because he's kind of known as, very late round pick, but he was highly productive. It's not always about production. Maybe he doesn't have the measurables for the NFL, but highly productive. He's doing something right. So the Baylor nose tackle is a deep sleeper for me. To my defense lineman, number 1, again, it's a close battle between Derrick Brown and Javon Kinlaw. I'm going Derrick Brown from Auburn, an elite grade for him too, because this guy is one of the more powerful, strongest defensive tackles I've seen, really, and he just bullies guys with that, and he's always making that huge impact. A big guy like this that you would think is, is a really good run stuffer. He has power. You expect him kind of only to be involved in that way, but he impacts the game more than that, getting his pressures, kind of getting the bull rushes. I've seen him against, centers, guards, just bull rushing them straight back into the quarterback. Just so many dominating plays. He's always able to get his hands on the ball, too. And there's even times where, there's a little bit of luck. Somehow the ball just finds him. But it just continues to happen. At that point, you just know the guy's a dominant force. And like I mentioned, we know he's top-tier run stuffer, but he is very effective in the pass game as well. And he's a sure tackler, not going to go miss any tackles. So you expect that from a guy like him. And I think you only pass on him if you're looking for a guy that's going to get you, or going to have a little more athleticism. A little more athleticism, maybe more of a pass rush ability because of it with his athleticism. But not too many teams are going to pass on him when they're looking for his style at all. And the kind of the difference between him and Kinlaw, people say, is the upside is with Kinlaw, and the upside is with Kinlaw. I mean, just a freakish dude, so much upside. But I think the mistake people make and if you do have Kinlaw 1, I'm not going to argue with you really at all. But I do think some people, the mistake they make is saying, I'd rather go with the upside. And that's a mistake because Derrick Brown does have some upside. I mean, he's 21 years old. Javon Kinlaw happens to be 22. So he still does have upside, and he's already this good. So that's a little scary there. So Derrick Brown's going to be number 1, so we know number 2 is. It's Javon Kinlaw. Freakish physical specimen. 324 pounds. You see, him and Derrick Brown are about the same weight. And Javon Kinlaw is like pure muscle. It's absolutely ridiculous. Everybody wants to work with that type of guy. He's got elite length. Just the long arms to fight off the offensive lineman. He's an effective pass rusher. He got a lot of pressure last year. We talked about in the beginning of the video. He's the most versatile, I think, in this class. And he played against a lot of double teams. We actually see him triple teamed at times. And he still beats those double teams quite a bit. You see, he was a force against a team like Georgia. They didn't really have an answer for him. And the upside is through the roof. Why you may pass on him, maybe why you may go Derrick Brown instead. Derrick Brown a little more polished, and there is some inconsistent play. Like I said, he'll go against double team and he'll just demolish 2 guys. It's just like ridiculous, like how to do that. So you see that quite a few times, and then you expect when he's against one guy that he's just going to absolutely dominate him every single time. That's really not the case. It's really not a negative, honestly, but he plays pretty high. I wish he would get a little lower, so it might be a little easier for the NFL offensive lineman to figure that out, game plan against him, block him. But really nothing major there. He's a top 10 talent, easy. Number 2 in the D-line rankings for me. I got Ross Blacklock at 3. I'm very high on Ross Blacklock, maybe higher than most. Upside is another one. Javon Kinlaw won the upside category, but Ross Blacklock was right there with him. For a big dude, he's got surprisingly good athleticism and agility. You see him kind of get rangy too. If plays happen opposite of where he's at, he's going to get over the sideline if he has to. He really does. So I guess you could call him high motor if you want to as well. I think a good NFL defense, or a decent one even, a good scheme, I think might be easier for him than TCU. A lot of stunts, a lot of slanting. Again, with that defense, it's very odd what they run over there in TCU. So it just creates so he has to, he either ends up getting double teamed, just not on purpose, just kind of by default. Or it just makes it so it's a longer trip to the quarterback is what it does. So I think in a regular scheme, getting him in a correct spot, I think he's going to be productive. And he got a lot of pressure, and he was pretty good in the run game as well, as it was with I think was a harder task there at TCU. So I think he'll definitely be more effective down the road here in the NFL. And he plays. We talk about Javon Kinlaw plays a little high. You want to play a little low. Blacklock has really good control playing pretty low, where the offensive linemen really don't know how to put their hands on you exactly. They're going to try. It doesn't really work out, and that creates, them to get off balance. So, Blacklock, very impressed with him. A lot of upside there going in the NFL. And then, I guess a negative for some teams, maybe you can't really get a good judge because he's not playing in a pro-style defensive line scheme there, defensive scheme. So how are we going to, where are we going to put him? How are we going to judge him? Will he be this good? We look at LJ Collier, who is a little different of a player last year. Didn't really work out in the first year. Only his first year there. Didn't get a whole bunch of reps. But so somebody can, even though they're 2 totally different type of players, they can look at it similar. Like, is he going to be able to adjust? I think it'll be easier. And he's going to go against better offensive linemen, but his task, I think it'll be a little easier. So I like Ross Blacklock a lot. Number 4 is going to be AJ Epenesa. A little risky because, he was a 4-3 end, and he still can be a 4-3 end. But, with lacking the athleticism, I just don't really think – I do know most teams won't want him at edge rusher because of the lack of athleticism, and especially where the NFL is going right now. And people say, well, you can't overreact from a slow 40 time, and you can't, but you see where it matters more and more now. Look at where the league's going, and the reason why there's such a shortage on tackles, offensive tackles, and why they're really struggling. So many of them really struggle is just because they cannot handle the speed of the edge rusher. The game's really changing, so this kind of backs it up a little bit, and he still could be effective. But the question is, every year we see multiple guys like this. They don't have the speed for edge rusher, so do they play 3-4 end? But then the question is, do they have the strength? And most of the time they don't. Almost 98% of the time they don't. I think A.J. Epenesa does. I guess that's my opinion. I think he does because that's where his strengths are. He's very, very strong. You see that bull rush. His hands are ridiculously strong. He's got really good technique. We've seen him slide inside a little bit. More of a 3 technique, which 3-4 3 technique, not too far off there. And so I think he can do it. It's I guess a little risky of a pick depending on who takes him. But then he's shown dominance at times too, so you like that. Why you pass on him, kind of things we talked about. It's an athletic time in the NFL, so maybe you're worried about the athleticism, the speed, and then maybe worried about him changing positions. Like, well, he doesn't really need that much speed to play here, but will he be able to play here? So that's going to be the question for some teams. There's some teams that will not touch him in the first round. There's teams that do not have him on their board in the first round. We know that. Maybe he drops a little bit, but just such a dominant player at time. There's a reason why he was in the top 10 of mock drafts, during the season. It's because just pure dominance. You're sitting there watching college football in making mock drafts, and there's a reason you put him there. And there's a reason why he should be, it depends on the team. I understand if he goes second round, but it's a dominant talent still. And number 5 is going to be Nevile Gallimore from Oklahoma. I think, it's a rare type of nose tackle. He's not just specifically a nose tackle. I think that's a positive. And I think he just fits today. It fits, because the problem with nose tackles and why they drop so much is because nose tackles are in the game on first down, and they're in the game on short yardage, goal line and short yards, because they're there to stop the run. They're not going to, these big guys that are just strong and good at reaching over and taking out a running back with one arm, one hand, they're not good at getting after the quarterback. So that's why they drop. Then they're not used a whole bunch. They got one duty. But to me, Gallimore, he has the reps at nose tackle. He has the size, and he has the pass rush ability as well. He's got some good moves, actually, for a big, guy that played quite a bit of nose tackle. So it's a rare type of player. It's a unique type of player, maybe one of a kind, actually. Is he going to have that wow talent of the 4 in front of him? Those guys, no, he's not. But it's a rare, unique type of player, so he's a guy that can go a little earlier than people expect. Why why he may drop. I see some people that think he could even drop, back end of the second round. Not every team will view him as a nose tackle. Maybe you want a bigger guy. Maybe you want a stronger guy at nose tackle. To me, this is today's type of nose tackle. And then if you view him as just a defensive tackle, there's going to be better options, maybe even after him here. So, and he does play pretty high. For a guy built like that, you think he'd be a little better playing lower. So he needs to kind of get used to that. And then we're moving on to 6 through 10, pretty tight through these parts here. Jordan Elliott's going to be number 6. He's a sleeper for the second round. He could go third round, but he's a sleeper. I think for him only starting 1 full year, pretty impressive. I think you could move around a bit too. I wouldn't be completely shocked if he even played 3-4 end. I'm not going to predict he's playing there. Most people won't either, but I wouldn't be shocked. He's got some good moves, really uses his arms well, around defenders. The production is there in terms of pressures. You just wish there was more sack numbers, I guess. But he's impressive. He has a very impressive tape, so I like him the best of the rest here, round 2. Marlon Davidson, similar to A.J. Epenesa. He played a bit of edge. He played inside more than A.J. Epenesa, so we know he has the ability to do it. But his production came from the edge, and he's just simply, because of his size and the lack of athleticism, he's just simply not going to play there. So another one, a little bit of a risk if you want to put him at a 3 technique. I think he's right there with Epenesa. I think you put him at 3-4 end, and he was pretty productive there next to Derrick Brown when he was asked to slide inside next to him. So he's another round 2 guy. Raekwon Davis, a very interesting one. Raekwon Davis, round 3 for me, early round 3. Why I say he's interesting, you kind of let's back up a little bit. We go to the 2018 national championship game was against Georgia. Really, that whole season, before that game, he was very, very impressive. He was very impressive that year, and I'm thinking this is a future top 10 pick. I really am. Just dominance, pass game, run game, and we haven't really seen that since. We haven't seen it come back. I've seen more, negative moments, not giant negatives. He's a pretty big dude. He's got to deal with his size, but it helps him in some cases with his length, kind of just reaching over for the quarterbacks, running backs. But yeah, I haven't seen, because you like to see improvement from some guys, but we didn't see that, and we almost seen him, I don't want to say go backwards, but almost, but he still had his good moments here and there. Just pretty inconsistent. Still, one game he'll have these moments where he looks like a first-round talent, and then he'll look like a fifth-round talent. So just staying consistent. Freakish dude. He's played at that level of a top 10 talent before, so that's kind of the upside. McTelvin, a game I talked about at the beginning of the video, is one of my sleepers. This guy's got a very fun tape. This guy's a beast. He played a mixture, with his career at Arkansas. He's played a little bit of 3-4 end line up there, and he played a little bit of 3 technique. I think he'll play 3 technique for a 4-3 team at the next level. Really strong and really effective getting off the quarterback, and he knows how to, bring the hammer, use his hands to, try to knock the ball out. He's forced some fumbles there, got his hands on the ball. So he's impressive. He's definitely a sleeper. Got him round 3. And Justin Matabuke from Texas A&M. This is like a production guy. This is one of those production guys. A lot of pressures, a lot of sacks. Maybe I'm a little lower on him than everyone else. And my thing is, if you watch the tape, I think the people that are really high on him, they're probably going off just the production. And he could be that. He can continue to be that productive. He's a guy that kind of just gets the job done. But most of his production were either, lengthy plays, coverage sacks, or I think a lot of the time the quarterback made a crucial mistake kind of stepping up into him when he was actually getting blocked too. So it was impressive he was able to make those plays, and he does deserve credit. But the key with the defensive line in today's NFL is interior pressure, and why interior pressure, and that's a game changer. Why it's a game, I always talk about this. Why is it a game changer? Because the trip to the quarterback from the interior is way shorter than the edge rushers. Also, it forces the quarterback to do something he doesn't want to do. Kind of abort the pocket, abort the play early, force him to one side of the field, and also force him into the edge rushers where they are. And it makes him panic because it's so early. The thing, Matabuke had a lot of production, but not a lot of production early. Some of these other guys are just able to just instantly, right off the line, beat their guy with speed or strength and get to the quarterback, and that's more what I'm looking for. From the interior defense lineman, but highly productive guy and pretty athletic too. Lacking a little bit of length, but he comes in at number 10, round 3 guy. But got a whole bunch of other D linemen ranked along with the other position groups. If you want to see those early, if you want to see these graphics, on one page as well, all of that, and bonus content, all kinds of bonus content all year long. You can go to our Patreon or our YouTube memberships. There's a link in the description for either or. It's one or the other there. So you get all this extra content there, so you can check it out. Everybody will see my full rankings. You'll see more than the top 10, and that will release the day of the draft all on one page there, so you'll be able to see that with the grades. But that doesn't come out for everybody until the day of the draft. We're going to continue on to the defense now. We did the offense, got a bunch of mock drafts, different types of mock drafts on the channel, and plenty more content to come. Only 9 days away, and still got a whole bunch to get to here. So we got you covered. Hopefully you can join us. Hopefully you can click that like button, comment with your rankings, check out our Twitter. That's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.